Daniel never imagined that a single job application could change the direction of his life. He was 26 years old, living in a small rented room on the edge of the city, and struggling to make ends meet. Every morning he woke up early, not because he had somewhere important to go, but because worry would not let him sleep. His savings were almost gone, and the temporary jobs he found never lasted long enough to give him stability or confidence. Daniel had studied business administration at a local college. He was not a top student, but he was hardworking and curious. Still, after graduation, reality hit him hard. Companies wanted experience, and experience required a job. It was a cycle he could not break. He sent out dozens of applications and received almost no replies. When replies did come, they were polite rejections that left him feeling invisible. One rainy afternoon, as Daniel sat in a small cafe using the free Wi-Fi, he noticed a job posting online. It was for an assistant position at a mid-sized logistics company. The pay was modest, and the role seemed simple: organizing files, answering emails, and helping the operations team. Normally, Daniel might have ignored it, thinking it was too small or unrelated to his goals. But something about the description felt different. The company emphasized learning, teamwork, and growth. With nothing to lose, Daniel decided to apply. He spent hours rewriting his resume and crafting a sincere cover letter. Instead of exaggerating his skills, he focused on his willingness to learn and his ability to adapt. When he finally clicked submit, he felt a quiet sense of relief, as if he had done something honest and meaningful for himself. He did not expect much, but at least he had tried. A week later, Daniel received an email inviting him for an interview. His heart raced as he read it. He practiced his answers in front of the mirror and borrowed a clean jacket from a friend. On the day of the interview, he arrived early, nervous but determined. The office was simple and welcoming, not intimidating like the large corporate buildings he had seen before. The interview surprised him. Instead of difficult technical questions, the manager asked about Daniel's interests, his challenges, and what he hoped to learn in the future. Daniel spoke openly about his struggles and his desire to build a stable career. He left the office unsure of the result, but for the first time in a long while, he felt respected. 2 days later, the phone rang. Daniel had been offered the job. It was not a dream position, but it was a start. He accepted immediately. On his first day, he realized how much he still had to learn. The systems were new, the tasks were unfamiliar, and he made small mistakes. Instead of criticism, his coworkers offered guidance. They showed him how things worked and encouraged him to ask questions. As weeks passed, Daniel became more confident. He noticed patterns in the company's operations and began suggesting small improvements. One day, he pointed out a delay in shipment tracking that could be fixed with a simple change in the reporting process. His supervisor listened and implemented the idea. The improvement saved time and reduced errors. For the first time, Daniel felt that his ideas mattered. That small success motivated him to work harder. He stayed late to understand the business better and used his free time to learn new software skills online. Slowly, his role expanded beyond basic assistance. He was trusted with larger responsibilities and included in important meetings. The job that once seemed small was opening doors he never expected. 6 months later, Daniel received a promotion. His salary increased, but more importantly, his confidence grew. He moved to a better apartment, supported his family, and started planning for the future. Looking back, he realized that the job itself was not magical. What changed everything was the opportunity to prove himself and the courage to take a chance when hope was fading. Daniel learned that big changes often begin with small opportunities. One simple decision, made on a rainy afternoon, became the foundation of a new life. The morning Daniel made his decision felt ordinary, but it would quietly reshape his future. He stood by the window of his small room, watching the city wake up. Cars moved slowly through traffic, people hurried to work, and the sky carried a pale gray color. Daniel felt stuck while everyone else seemed to move forward. For months, he had been waiting for something to change, but nothing happened. That morning, he realized that waiting was no longer an option. Daniel had been working short-term jobs since finishing college. Each job paid the bills for a while, then disappeared. The uncertainty was exhausting. He wanted a career, not just work. His friends talked about promotions and long-term plans, while Daniel avoided those conversations. He felt embarrassed, as if his life was paused while others continued to grow. That day, he decided to apply for a position he had seen several times but never took seriously. It was an entry-level role at a logistics company. The title sounded unimpressive, and the salary was low. Daniel had ignored it before, believing he deserved something better. But now he questioned that belief. Maybe the problem was not the job itself, but his refusal to start small. With a deep breath, Daniel sat at his desk and opened his laptop. He reviewed the job description carefully. The company valued reliability, communication, and learning. These were not extraordinary skills, but Daniel realized he had them. He rewrote his resume to reflect his real abilities instead of focusing on what he lacked. For the cover letter, he spoke honestly about his desire to grow and contribute. When he sent the application, he felt nervous but also lighter. Days passed without a response, and doubt returned. Daniel wondered if he had made another useless effort. Then an email arrived, inviting him for an interview. He read it twice to be sure. Suddenly, the decision he had made felt important. He prepared carefully, choosing simple clothes and practicing how to explain his experiences without apology or shame. The interview was different from what he expected. The manager asked about Daniel's challenges, not just his achievements. Daniel admitted that he was still learning and that he wanted stability. Instead of judging him, the manager nodded with understanding. The conversation felt real, not forced. When Daniel left the building, he did not know the outcome, but he felt proud for being honest. A few days later, Daniel was offered the job. Accepting it felt like crossing an invisible line. On his first day, everything was unfamiliar. The office routines, the software, and even the way people communicated were new to him. He made mistakes and felt slow compared to others. At times, he worried that he did not belong there. Instead of giving up, Daniel chose to observe and learn. He listened carefully during meetings and asked questions when he did not understand. His coworkers noticed his effort and supported him. Gradually, the fear faded. He completed tasks more quickly and began to understand how the company worked as a whole. One afternoon, Daniel faced a small but meaningful choice. He noticed an error in a report that everyone else had ignored. Fixing it would require extra time, and it was not officially his responsibility. He hesitated, then decided to act. He corrected the report and informed his supervisor. The supervisor appreciated his attention to detail and trust grew. That moment changed how Daniel saw himself. He realized that progress was built from small decisions repeated every day. Choosing to try, to learn, and to care made a difference. Over time, Daniel was given more responsibility. He became part of planning discussions and helped train new employees. A year later, Daniel's life looked very different. He had a stable income, a sense of purpose, and confidence in his abilities. The job that once seemed insignificant had become the foundation of his growth. Daniel understood that one decision does not change everything instantly, but it starts a path that leads somewhere new.